Let's talk about the map function in Python. Here we have the syntax. Basically, the map function has two arguments, the function and an iterable. You can even have more arguments, more iterables. You can, for example, have two iterables here, but you can only have a single function. And in a short, this function will run over each element of this iterable, which can be a list, a string, a tuple, or another iterable object, okay? So let's write a code here to show how it works. First, I created a function to square a number. This is a simple function. It only returns the number squared. Now I will create a list here of numbers. Here we have, now I'm going to use the map function with the function that I created and this list here, which is an iterable. Okay, let's go. Here we have the map function. Now I will use this function here, square number. And after I will use as the second argument the numbers list. And I will assign the result to this variable here named square numbers. Let's print this variable. What do you think will be the output? I will give you a spoiler. It will not work as you think. Here we have the output, map object at some address. And this happened because we need to turn the object into a list to actually see the values, okay? So let's do it now. I will just use this list function here to turn the object into a list. And now we are able to see the values. Here we have the output, a list which contains 1, 4, 9, and 16. These are the numbers squared from this list here that I passed as an argument, okay? Instead of passing the variable to the function, I could just pass the list itself and the result would be the same, as you can see here. Now let's create another function here. I created a function to multiply two numbers. Let's return the multiplication of these numbers, these two numbers. Now let's use the map function again, but with two iterables. I will write the function here, multiply numbers, and the first iterable will be a simple list, and also the second iterable. Let's create a variable here, numbers multiplied, and let's convert the result to a list in order to see on the terminal. Okay, I will run the code now. And here we have the output 3 and 8, which basically is 1 times 3 and 2 times 4, because it runs element by element. So it multiplies the first element of this list here with the first element of this other list, and then returns the output. And after, it multiplies the second element of this list here with the second element of this another list. Now I'm going to use the map function with the lambda function inside. If you don't know how the lambda function works, I have a video in this channel. Watch if you want to know. But basically the function that I will create here adds 1 to a number. Let me write the code. So here I have, basically I created a function that is going to add 1 to this list here, to each element. The output will be first 1 plus 1 and then 2 plus 1. I will assign the result to a variable and I will turn it into a list, okay? Let's print this result, which will be 2 and 3. A list containing 2 and 3. Here we have, instead of turning it into a list, I could turn into a tuple. Here we have the output, and also the iterable inside the function, the map function, can be a tuple. Let me run again the code. Here we have the output. We can also use a for loop to iterate over the elements of a map object. I will show how we can do. Let me write this code here below. Instead of turning the map object into a list using this function here, we can use a for loop to do the same thing. I will change the name of this variable here. I will change to map squared numbers, and now I'm going to iterate over this map object. First, I'm going to create an empty list here, which will contain the squared numbers, so I will use squared numbers. And now I'm going to create the for loop for numbers in map squared numbers. Squared numbers dot append numbers. Sorry, number. I will use number because it iterates element by element, number by number. Here we have our for loop, and now let's print this list here, squared numbers. Here we have the same output that I showed before. The function square number returns the number squared, and we passed this function as the first argument, and the second argument is this list here. So we squared number by number and returned this map object here, map squared numbers, after we created an empty list, and we iterated over this map object using a for loop and appended each element to the square numbers list. Okay, because if we try to print here the map square numbers, it will just print a map object. Okay, map object at some address. So in order to actually see the values, we need to iterate over each element, and in this case we appended each element to a list. So this was the video about the map function. Try yourself to use this function. There are a lot of things you can do with this function, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and watch other videos. I have some videos about programming in this channel, and I'm going to upload many more. Okay, if you don't know how the Lambda function works, I have a video on this channel, so go there and watch this video. And that's it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.